Welcome back to the European LCS. I've been joined by Martin the Fisho Lunge, and we're going to take a closer look at our last match where the Copenhagen Wolves beat SK Gaming. And, well, Youngbuck said, we got everything we wanted out of picks and bans. What were the most distinct things of those picks, you think?
So first of all, SK Gaming on the very last ban, they banned Renekton, a champion which Youngbuck likes to play, but it's not really considered a very strong pick anymore in the top lane. Gragas was left open. We see it constantly being picked in every single region here. In OGN, it was picked pretty much every single game as the first pick. Today, here in the quarterfinals, he just locks it in, easy for him. And then they actually give Orianna over to Soren, who is a complete Orianna main. Like, he's played over 100 more games on Orianna in solo queue than any other champion. He's still new to the LCS. Why don't you target towards him, get him out of the comfort zone like Fnatic tried to do yesterday? Instead of give him his main pick, and he carried the game as well for Copenhagen Wolves. Yeah,
also seeing the score that Youngbuck had yesterday on Renekton as well, it could have been a better ban. But then talking about the game, Svenskeren actually got off to a pretty good start, build up a lead, but then SK fell into this passive routine as the game went on.
So it's what we've been seeing from SK Gaming lately. They don't make any plays anymore. They used to be a team where they would rotate around the map and try and outplay you by simply moving faster to different lanes, take objectives. They don't do it anymore. They just sit back, let Copenhagen Wolves do whatever they want, and then we keep seeing some individual mistakes. I mean, Jesse's flashing in the mid lane before Dragon Fight was a very key thing in this game here, and we can actually just pull up the replay we have, because it is the Dragon Fight where Copenhagen Wolves really get a lead here. Just start straight away. Jesse is completely out of position. He has no flash. He just used it in the mid lane for no reason before here, because he thought there was a chance Broken Shark could catch him, but he wasn't even close to him. Copenhagen Wolves jump him instantly, kill him very, very fast, and then the rest of the team just joins in. Both Soren and Youngbuck wasn't even there from the start. It was 4 members from SK, and they couldn't do anything because Jessis was standing by himself in the top side of the river. The rest of the team were doing Dragon, completely out of position, and when you build full squishy Seraph and you have no flash, you're gonna die.
Yeah, he did get a triple kill, which was hopeful for SK, but then it kind of made me reminisce of yesterday's game where he would always jump in with the TF. And do you think that it's the individual mistakes in SK that is making it so hard for them right now?
So, individual mistakes, and honestly, I feel like the rest of the teams in the league have caught up in terms of playing the map, in terms of strategy, rotations, which was what SK Gaming won games on in the last split. And then start on this split here. We never talked about SK Gaming being a team with one star player who would just outplay everyone or very strong individual players. It was always a team game. Now the rest of the teams have been practicing a lot. They've caught up to SK Gaming in terms of playing the map. So now the lack of individual skill, I think we can say without calling any of the members from SK Gaming bad, but the lack of individual superstars or individual skill simply means the rest of the teams have a very easy time playing against them, and they don't lose the laning phase to SK Gaming, they don't lose the team fights either, which means SK Gaming now don't really have anything they're exceptionally good at and anything they can beat other teams with.
Well, on the other side, a ray of hope for the Copenhagen Wolves. Broken Shard coming in here, the second game, Soren coming in here, and honestly, quite good performances for those two.
A very strong performance by both. I mean, Jarvan was picked in simply for synergy with Orianna and to shut down Jesus, who was very immobile. And it worked really well for both of them. We saw Broken Shard use a lot of time in the mid lane, pick up some kills, force some flashes, and Soren, of course, give him his main champion. He will perform, and he did here. He was, I believe, at 22 minutes, he had Void Staff, Deathcap, and a Fiends.
Ouch.
Which means the mid-game point of Orianna, you just skip it. You just go straight to late game and say, here you go, you now have a late game mage who can carry the game. Woolite had a few issues himself on Tristana early, but then once he picked up the Infinity Edge and SK Gaming didn't do anything, he just quickly got into his late game point as well, and Copenhagen Wolves were just stronger in the team fights.
Yeah, very well played there by the Copenhagen Wolves. We're going to send it back to Joe and Quickshot at the desk, but first, ROCCAT's Jankos has seen enough of Millenium this split to know which version he's hoping to see on the Rift today.
I think Millenium is a strange team because, you know, sometimes they are very good and sometimes they are playing very bad. I don't know what will happen this week, and I really hope that, you know, they are not in their best shape, because when they are playing in their best shape, they are pretty much unbeatable.
We're going to see which version of Millenium comes up today, because it is time for Millenium to face off against ROCCAT. As these teams continue to fight it out for a 5th place spot in the standings, the line between playoffs and relegation is pretty shockingly thin, to be honest. Yesterday, Millenium took on SK Gaming in our final match of the day, and after a hard-fought battle, they managed to steal a Baron and capitalize on a dodgy decision or two from SK.
Yeah, that's saying it lightly, Joe. I think Millenium, they fell behind early on, They struggled for control in team fights, and truthfully, their targeting was extremely lacking. They had such a tough time dealing with SK Gaming's very mobile team composition. In general, Millenium did handle themselves well against Twisted Fate. They punished him every single time he tried to Destiny into fights. Jree in particular was allowed Leona, and once more he had an astounding performance. He's played Leona a bunch of times this split, racked up 75 assists in 8 games. He really is very important when it comes to picking people off. I hate to sound like a broken record. Millenium, pick comp, it is their strength, it's what they do well, and that is what ROCCAT is afraid to face. If Millenium can pick them off, that's how Millenium wins games.
Well, ROCCAT themselves were on a roll coming into this week, winning 5 games in a row and 9 out of their last 12, but they were unable to topple the super hot crew yesterday. They had a good start to the game due to their signature early aggression, but a horrible call that lost them kills, and then a dragon really cost them.
Okay, so the super hot crew, they danced around ROCCAT extremely effectively yesterday, and after ROCCAT fell behind in kills, they capitalized on a very bad dragon call. This is what we're talking about from super hot crew. Unfortunately, ROCCAT just never recovered. They were never able to bounce back from the control that super hot crew had. They didn't shut Selfie down in the mid lane on Orianna, another strong performance, and they just didn't have any answer to the objective play from the super hot crew. The most interesting thing about ROCCAT and their wins and their losses is just how heavily they win and lose in terms of streaks. So, for example, after the start of the split, ROCCAT actually lost 6 games back-to-back. Then, they won 4 games back-to-back. Then they lost 3, and most recently, they were in a 5-game winning streak. This shifting mindset and shifting level of performance is a testament to their mental state, because we've seen how distraught they are after even some of their wins. Veggie is helping them find confidence. We need to see them break that streak here today.
Yeah, streaky performances all around, I think, from ROCCAT. Pretty much the epitome and the real definition of that word is how they're playing it right now. Let's check out the starting lineups for this game. On the blue side today, it's Millenium, with Kevin in the top lane, KottenX in the jungle, Kerp in the mid lane, Creaton the AD carry, Jree on support.
On the red side, it is ROCCAT with Xaxus up top, Jankos in the jungle, Overpow in the mid lane, Celaver AD carry, and VandeR playing the support role.
So before the teams then get to champion select, let's see how you guys called this game. According to LOLesports.com, 55% of you voted for Millenium. Real close vote, this one.
Definitely, and I do think yesterday's performance is probably what is shifting the mindset here, because ROCCAT, while they had some good plays against the super hot crew, they really did get very controlled. One of the most impressive things that super hot crew did against ROCCAT was just moving between towers very safely and very efficiently. ROCCAT didn't have the wards or the vision to counterbalance that play. So for today's game, I think they need to put some focus on that. I do think they need to be more proactive and not make the same mistake that SK Gaming just did, allowing your opponents to hit a power spike and then punish you for their compositional weaknesses.
So what about bans and picks then for this one? It's always hard to figure out what Overpow himself is going to end up playing. We've seen some strange picks and always showing that he seems to have another champion, despite if you put all 3 bans to him.
Overpow on Xerath is very strong. He's one of the first players that did pull it out, did it in the spring split as well, and has done fairly well with that champion. But I also think the jungle is going to be very important. KottenX is another jungler that has had good and bad games. I remember him pulling out Kha'Zix in a panic mode fairly recently, and that cost his team. So we need to see what KottenX gets his hands on, considering one of those junglers is taken off the table.
Yeah, Gregos, Evelyn, both taken away by Millenium. Lucian actually banned out for ROCCAT here, and that's going to be interesting, forcing Creaton maybe onto a different pick. ROCCAT obviously putting some real emphasis on that, despite the fact that Celaver himself really does like that Lucian pick, and Lucian the most played champion as well from Creaton.
Yeah, it really is, and yesterday Creaton did play Corki, so he's expanding his champion pool. Once again, 4.11, so this is pre-live changes to Lucian. For Creaton and Millenium in particular, they generally only win games when Creaton's playing Lucian. He is very, very, very focused on that. 12 games this split. We'll need to see what they're going to run this time around. Corki is available. Syndra taken off the table means that Xerath is still up. Kevin may get his hands on Aatrox, the champion he's been trending towards as well.
Kassadin, Twisted Fate here against Kerp.
This might be a gamble, because Kerp and Millenium traditionally have banned Kassadin on the blue side. Now, we did see them moving away from that, as you can see in the current picks and bans, so Kerp may have eventually learned this champion, but as you rightly pointed out, TF is up. Kerp is a master TF player, and unfortunately has actually put more emphasis on the Lee Sin. So now ROCCAT need to decide what do they value more.
And let's not forget Xerath, because yesterday Kerp played that as well against SK Gaming, was incredibly good with it. However, they do decide first pick will be Lee Sin, with Evelyn taken out by themselves. So strong pick here. I think KottenX has performed his best with Lee Sin as well.
Yeah, but I find it very weird when you've got Lee Sin and you have Elise available. Only one of them is going to go over to your opponent so you can get the other. And KottenX is also a strong Elise player. He hasn't played it much in LCS, but it is one of those champions that he does perform very well on. And I'm not quite sure how they're going to counter the potential pick power that Overpow can lock down. Aatrox not only will be denying it from Kevin if it gets locked in, but if they go for the Twisted Fate in this last second, you're also then going to give ROCCAT the ability to roam around the map and punish Millenium for poor positioning. But they're not going to do it.
Yeah, switching out here, going for the support as they pick up Morgana for VandeR. And we've already seen how strong that's going to be. One thing I'm interested in now is, since there's no AD carries being picked, and we've got Morgana already locked in for VandeR, will he go for the Leona that's done so well here, Jree? Even though you can argue when Morgana's in there, that black shield's going to cause you some problems, but you can only protect one person.
So either Leona, you could also see a Braum coming out. Jree has been playing that. You could also see potentially Thresh on the table. The Leona-Morgana matchup is actually one that a lot of supports will argue about. Creaton in particular prefers Leona into Morgana because even though the Black Shield will block the stun, you can still get pulled to the target. But notice that Millenium have got a split push power in the form of Shyvana. They've got a strong magic damage mid laner, magic damage AD carry with Corki, mixed damage rather. So he's going to scale while Creaton definitely playing more Corki, but they've left their mid and their support. So they can still decide what style they want to finish this team composition around. For Millenium to put a split push champion in Kevin's hands with Shyvana, or a team fight champion if he builds tanky, it does also mean that the focus will be slightly different. They don't have a super heavy focus on pick champions yet.
So for ROCCAT then, taking Elise for the jungle, I think that was a pretty obvious one considering the Evelyn ban and the first pick Lee Sin out of Millenium, and we'll see Kog'Maw actually going in for Celaver. Celaver himself did actually play Corki yesterday, as we did see from Creaton. Creaton having a slightly better time with that one, finishing 5-2 and 14. They'll be looking for that kind of rate here today. Twisted Fate managed to get all the way through the picks up until now as well. ROCCAT, of course, were hovering over him early on. Looks like we could be seeing that very old school Corki Leona lane coming out.
I have no idea how Celaver plans to stay alive if those champions get locked in. Lee Sin is mobile, Corki's mobile, Shyvana's mobile. Kerp, assuming he doesn't pull a Jesus, can teleport to the back line and also blow people up. Jree's got hard initiation. There's not enough protection here for one black shield to keep Celaver alive. So ROCCAT are going to be very, very hard pressed to keep him up and also to be positioned correctly. For Millenium's comp, with Twisted Fate and Leona now locked in, I think they've got a little bit of everything. They've got safe wave clear, they have pick power, they have team fight power, they've got counter engage, they've got, engage, etc. And I think they've got the tools to punish a very immobile Kog'Maw. But they need to get ahead in order to do that, because if ROCCAT get ahead with an Elise, Kog'Maw, and Aatrox, they can simply stand toe-to-toe and actually win some of those fights. Even if you throw everything at Kog'Maw, if he's fed or farmed well, he may even be able to melt through you unless you have multiple threats. So we'll see what their final lock-in is going to be.
Oh, mid lane Morgana.
Okay.
So I actually watched Froggen playing mid lane Morgana the other day, and to be honest, it is still pretty scary.
So, okay, this is now different. This is now very different because all of the protection for Kog'Maw will now be in this mid lane Morgana. Yes, you can flash forward with Soul Shackles, but when you're going to be building a lot of ability power, your Black Shield is now infinitely more useful because it will be scaling with all of the ability power you're building up. So that's going to be extra protection from Celaver. You combo that with the Glacial Fissure. If Millenium go for team fights with Leona, Lee, Shyvana jumping onto a target, they'll be slowed in place by VandeR's ultimate and then potentially stunned in place by Overpow's ultimate. That is a very, very smart change in the last few seconds, and I'm much more positive about ROCCAT's team comp. I'm also much more positive about the players, because because when Overpow is playing a non-traditional mid laner, he plays better. The team performs when they're comfortable, and they're comfortable when they're being odd, so to speak. And I'm very excited to see mid lane Morgana.
Well, going to be fun, that's for sure. But with those champions, do you still think that Millenium are going to win this one? Tweet to us and let us know at LOL Esports with hashtag MILWin or hashtag ROCWin. And we'll see if the lineups actually managed to sway your vote somewhat. It was already a close one, 55 to 45 in favor of Millenium. But I think that mid lane Morgana might change.
Well, it swayed my vote. Down to the very last pick, I felt that Millenium had a much better team composition. And I still think there is a slight lead to Millenium in terms of having the tools to team fight, to split push with Shyvana, with Twisted Fate, with Leona. But, again, same story. If ROCCAT can have a strong laning phase, this mid lane Morgana may just work out for them. All going to be about timing on those soul shackles.
Well, let's have a look. We're going to get into games. Millenium versus ROCCAT. Our second game of the day. A thorough mid-table clash up this one. Going to be important for both teams to start pulling away here as we get into those final couple of weeks of the season.
And there's one thing I also want to highlight. Now, support Morgana, of course, one of the reasons she's so successful and so favored is the 3-second route on her Dark Binding, on her Q. That becomes a very deadly missile on a mid lane AP because it is a lot of damage that can come down. And if you manage to lock up, you know, Creaton or Kerp or KottenX in the mid game when you're roaming around, or you land that Dark Binding on a telegraphed Destiny where Kerp will be coming in, you can instantly focus him down and blow him up. This is the reason SK Gaming lost the game yesterday, because Jesus had little impact, had no impact in team fights. But ROCCAT need to make sure they're in the right position to do that and also blow Kerp up, because the root will not prevent Kerp popping his Zhonya's Hourglass, which he's going to have a tiny bit of breathing room to do.
We'll find out here as both teams set up for level 1, and Millenium looking like they could be fancying a push towards the red buff, which actually would be dangerous here for ROCCAT. Their duo is already down bottom. Millenium looking to instigate a lane swap here by the looks of things as well. Corki headed up that lane already. See that Xaxus and Jankos hanging around by red, so if there's an invade here by Millenium, ROCCAT's jungler is a little bit behind right from the start.
Yeah, I completely agree. Luckily, ROCCAT do have vision, though, so they should be able to react correctly if Millenium invade, and they are. And we'll see how Overpow reacts. Has he left mid lane yet? No, because it looks like Kerp is still pushing. So it's just going to be denying the buff from Jankos. Because of the lane swap, it should mean that Jankos actually won't come away too harmed, because he can pull the support of Celaver and VandeR to Millenium's red buff. And this is just going to be Millenium taking control of the top half of the map, while ROCCAT have been given control of the bottom half of the map. All initiated by Millenium.
Nice little start there by Millenium. We shall see, though. We're also seeing double teleport being run here, so Overpow is going to be able to, in theory, follow Twisted Fate around the map here as well. And we see that red buff started off by ROCCAT over in the Millenium side of the jungle. So it looks like it will be a trade for now, with obviously a slightly ahead Millenium there coming out, with KottenX actually stealing away the Wraith camp as he's on his way out towards his own blue.
Yeah, so double teleports are definitely becoming more popular. Even with the changes to teleport, making the teleport to towers slightly longer cooldown. We see it in 2 or 3 of the games yesterday, obviously seeing it in this matchup, and I think you rightly surmised Overpow's intention. I do not think Overpow is looking to do anything other than keep Celaver alive. And Celaver as an AD carry has definitely been improving in recent weeks. Xaxus is caught out.
Yeah, well, John's away.
Celaver's really been improving in recent weeks. He was struggling to have an impact at the beginning of the split. And it kind of feels like with the changes to AD carry items in 4.10, it seems to have favored him. It seems to have stepped up, put some champions back in his pool that is working for him. And as long as Overpow and VandeR are positioning correctly and stacking their ultimates, now they have enough sort of protection for this Cogmore in the mid to late game.
Where are Millenium going? Actually, they're going to be either crossing over. They're going to be spotted by a ward if they do decide to cross over. And there is the spot. So actually, an early dragon attempt. We see Morgana just holding this middle of the lane area. In fact, Xaxus has walked down as well. So ROCCAT going to 5-man dragon here after just 3 minutes 50 seconds. But will they be able to finish it off before Millenium come in? There's KottenX going over. He's going to get it. And he manages a steal as well. He's going to pay for it here with his life. But they get that first pickup of the dragon, and I don't think they can chase in for any anymore.
Definitely worthwhile. Dragon secure. Well, 4-minute Dragon's not going to be worth quite as much, but nevertheless, smart play, KottenX landing the steal and grabbing the objective. I do also want to say ROCCAT were juggling the aggro of Dragon and dodging the damage very, very, very well. I don't think they took a single auto attack from Dragon until Millenium moved in for the challenge. And all props to KottenX with the start. The problem is, Xaxus secured first blood, so in this lane swap scenario, he's slightly further ahead from Kevin, and he's got double buffs. That's very aggressive.
What? I'm not sure what he's doing there, to be honest with you. He's going to get stunned up here. He's going to get that Bloodwell pop right underneath the turret, though. And it looks like the TP going to come around. Have they got enough to finish it? Phosphorus bomb misses. The TP actually got cancelled there in the end. Not sure if Kerp actually stopped Overpow from coming through there with a gold card, but so close. And I think that was purely a mistake from Xaxus. The way that he flashed straight out there tells me so.
Yeah, I feel like that was a misclick. I double-checked the my PC on the side. Overpow cancelled the teleport.
Okay.
It wasn't interrupted from Kerp. Overpow himself decided to not go in there. I feel like it was the smart decision. It's going to be a lower cooldown, and also he wasn't really going to be able to punish Creaton or Jree. They had very little intention of actually diving. They got Xaxus' passive, they got his flash, and he's in a lot of trouble. Millenium putting a lot of damage on this top tower. Xaxus still has double buff, so there is some kill threat if he and Jankos can get on the right target. He's looking for some levels.
See that, that would have been a bit of a disaster for them as well. Double buffs going over to Corky at this stage of things as Kevin coming up pretty far here, and VandeR's like, no, I'm just going to have a couple of shots off onto you. May even get a stunt. No, Kevin deciding to walk back away, play that one a little safer. Jankos has come up to aid that top lane as well. We're also going to have Lee Sin coming through, so could turn into a 3-on-2 if ROCCAT decides to start anything.
Yeah, we need to see if Jree can land the CC. That's what it's about. Double buff should be wearing off in the not too distant future, so that might also actually be the focus. There's only a few seconds left. Try to get that back in your hands, but there's a decent minion wave to work with. Jankos is, you know, he's got objectives to farm. Wetekam, Wolfcam, you know, the white is up, and instead they're putting emphasis in working with Xaxus, making sure he's in a strong position. KottenX has stuck around a long time, and they've caught Xaxus.
Oh, going into that one, he's got nothing to get away with here except his jump, and he's going to go down. That looks all too easy as Overpow going to go aggressive. Ulti's going out, and I think Kerp is going to go down from this one. Couple more auto attacks will do it, and there it is. Red card pulled. Turret might have got him if it had been a gold card. Doesn't matter though, Overpow with a 1v1, and now ROCCAT pushing bottom.
While the red card sends Kerp off the field, very easy 1v1 for Overpow, just completely outplaying. Now they're diving Kevin in the bottom lane, but VandeR's taken too much damage.
Turret's going down either way here for Millenium. First one of the game. Question is whether Kevin can hold this one on the bottom side, and whether ROCCAT feel confident enough and strong enough at this stage to actually go in there. There's actually the stun possibility coming down. 2 more shots would have done it, but I don't think they're feeling strong enough to go under the turret here.
No, not yet, and they just did it a few seconds ago, so they don't have the hit points really to go for it again. One of the things I also want to highlight, Leona gets so much tanky stats from her abilities. Shyvana gets a bunch of tanky stats from her abilities, and I'm expecting them, Shyvana eventually to go very tanky. Cogmore is phenomenal against tanks because of the percentage damage on his W, because of the fact that you tend to build Blade of the Ruined King on him, and he gets to shred the armor and MR with his Caustic Spittle, the Q. So once Millenium get tankier and tankier, you've got the best AD carry against those tanks because you can shred them, because you can remove their armor and MR and just deal even more damage. So even more, I think, props to ROCCAT for their pick and ban phase and for how, I think, intelligently they've read Millenium in the situation.
Xaxus is in a lot of trouble here. There's the ward going down, giving them the vision. Can they finish him off? He actually will jump towards Kevin. Here comes Overpow with the TP as well. Xaxus is going to go down, but it's going to take a while. Where's he going to go? Auto attack from Kerp, finish it off, and Overpow not feeling able to push through there and get another kill. They'll trade 1-for-1 with both top laners going down.
Soul Shackles has just become available for Overpow. If he gets a binding on Kerp, he may just, well,
yeah.
Take it back. Was thinking about it. Teleport worked out very effectively, and it was the exact counter to the Destiny. So yes, they end up trading 1-for-1, but Overpow, very importantly, is the one that secures the kill there for ROCCAT. So he can accelerate his Rod of Ages, work closer and closer to getting to that Zhonya's Hourglass as well. So smart play from Overpow, and this is what we talked about. Overpow on a non-standard mid lane is having a very large impact in this matchup. He's 1v1 Kerp, which is not something a lot of European mid laners are able to do in the laning phase.
Certainly not, and pulling a little bit ahead in CS up until now as well. Keep going for Rod of Ages first by the looks of it with that Catalyst, the Protector, as his first item. We are finally going to see blue buffs being donated over to the mid laners as well. Kerp going to be taking his, and I'm assuming the same going to happen, or already happened even, for Overpow here as well. Jankos giving that out. So move to a bit more of a farming phase here. 3-2 up in kills. However, that farming phase probably not going to last too long because Dragon is coming up in 15 seconds time.
Yeah, now ROCCAT were the ones that started Dragon. They juggled the damage very effectively, but KottenX stole it away previously. I think Millenium will be more hesitant to look for steals if they can get themselves in a fight. Teleport almost up for Kevin. Destiny almost up for Kerp. So a strong engage between Leona and Twisted Fate might be the way to try jump on Celaver before any more items are built up or any more power is gained on their side. We see Celaver and VandeR in the 2v2. They've been like this for a minute or two. And the previous trade, Celaver and VandeR actually came up quite effectively against Creaton. Creaton's going for the burst build with Sheen first.
Sheen first, Phage first on the other side with Celaver and Overpow here. Again, continuing to rack up that CS Kerp, despite his death earlier on, actually doing really, really well of keeping himself level. That could have been dangerous. And again, we see these like double easy stun chain CCs that you can put together with Morgana and with Elise. Makes it easier once one lands to put the next one right on top of it. Actually, Kerp did just recall, picked himself up Morellonomicon first item.
Yeah, so going to be going for that cooldown reduction. Interesting to see it's Morellonomicon first as opposed to an Athene, because there is a fair amount of magic damage on Rocket's squad, but on the same token, if you can get Morgana low with her built-in spell vamp, maybe that's part of the reasoning. Regardless, Kerp's got the movement speed with his back, with teleport available for Kevin. I think I would be expecting Kevin to potentially spend some money, and it's Millenium that are making the aggressive move. They're rushing the dragon down. Seem to feel very confident in the space, and let's see if ROCCAT can steal this one away. Glacial Fissure is available for VandeR for when he wants to go in.
There we go, there is the ultimate hour of VandeR. Jankos is already low though, and this could be really bad. There is the Solar Flare actually not connected. Jree got a bit deep from that one. Kerp's gonna get hit. Binding didn't quite have the range. Can they get the stun on Kerp? No, he flashes away. Millenium get the Dragon and do get away without losing a life as well.
Yeah, Solar Flare was completely dodged by everyone on ROCCAT, but they just didn't have the full numbers available to initiate the fight quickly enough. If Overpow was there, you can bet your bottom dollar he would have flashed in with the Soul Shackles in the pit. Couldn't make it happen because he was simply too far away. And Millenium extend their gold lead to just shy of 2,000. I think that's a very strong play from them, very confident, and they took advantage of ROCCAT's back timing. ROCCAT were not in range to defend or challenge quickly enough with a full complement to their team.
So the minion wave cleared out in the mid as well from Kerp at max range, thanks to his wild card, just to make sure that they were kept away from doing too much damage onto that turret. It's about half HP, so Overpow's done well to pressure on that front, and is also continuing to build up his CS lead, about 10 CS ahead now as KottenX comes down bottom, and we're going to see exactly how this immobile Cogmore may cost them. Solar Flare's coming up, but not quite ready just yet. And there's the vote. It's exactly switched around. It was 55-45 to Millenium before the game, and now 55-45 in favor of ROCCAT. Jankos now also there. Lee Sin just backed away for the Golem, so dangerous time somewhat.
Yeah, no Fissure from VandeR, so optimistic, I think, at best in that scenario. Support of KottenX is here, so this is going to be a 3v3, and Jree's going all in.
There's the Solar Flare, they're going straight for Celaver. Actually, no, they'll take VandeR first. Will they get any more here? Jree going to fall low. Xaxus coming around the backside. Jree's going to die from this one, but Kevin is now there as well. Who's the target going to be for Millenium? There's not really going to be a target. They'll allow ROCCAT to walk away. Both supports down this time.
Both trading 1-for-1 teleports from both Kevin and Xaxus in that scenario. And Overpow held onto his teleport. It looks like Overpow's only going to use the teleport maybe when Kerp decides to move around the map. Kerp obviously not joining the fight means Overpow didn't either. Only the action. And again, that was started by Millenium. Once again, just an all-in engage from Jree. He connected with the Solar Flare, which was good this time, and obviously allowed them to actually pick that kill up.
So, Celaver only got his Phage. He does have 1,900 gold to spend, but he's going to be coming back here with a little bit more for his Trinity Force. Well, a little bit more in terms of all complete in the end. So that brings him level in terms of the items on that front as well. Top lane, we have seen both of them
VandeR's
picking
gonna
up
get
the cutlass. VandeR, yeah, not sure why he's there, just getting himself some damage onto Jree, but that may well cost him his life. There's the Q of Lee Sin, kick as well, great from KottenX, and that's one more for Millenium. 4-4, we're tied on kills now.
Just wanted to ward. That simple. Didn't have the support of his AD carry. KottenX is stuck around. That's actually the second time that KottenX has got a kill this game by just hanging around. Earlier in the match, he was sort of chilling in the top lane to pick up that kill onto Xaxus, and now he was hanging around for a while, all the way from that previous team fight. So, patient play from KottenX, but it worked out. He got in the kills, and it's going to secure a tower here for Millenium as well. The second of the game, they're going to extend their gold lead even further, just denying every bit of CS that they possibly can to keep Celaver down.
So mid lane and all of that was pretty damn quiet, to be honest. And as I said, that Kerp going to be ganked from the side, actually sidestepping. That's a nice little repel, and it's at least alleviated all the pressure to allow Overpow to finish off that middle turret. First one of the game, actually, for ROCCAT.
So it's going to close the goal just a tiny bit. I do still think there is a lot of power in Rocket's team comp once they put Morgana and Braum together. It's a very nice synergy between their ultimates, but they need to either force Millenium into a situation or react to a Millenium engage. So with the towers being down in both the top and bottom lane for ROCCAT, it means Millenium may turn their focus to mid lane. Also with Dragon coming up, you tend to see teams that want to set up for Dragon applying some pressure in that lane, trying to pull some resources that way, and then peeling down to Dragon, or vice versa. Go Dragon and instantly peel mid lane. So we'll see how quickly Creaton and Jree decide to move around. Teleport's not up for either top laner yet.
Did see Lee Sin moving up there as well, but KottenX not able to really get in. Bloodwell, he's back up for Xaxus. He won't be able to simply jump away. However, KottenX here may fancy a bit of a move over towards the enemy red buff, or even come around the back side there of Xaxus. He's going to be spotted by Kevin. So I'm not sure if they've actually got enough to finish off Xaxus here. Well, look at that. Kevin alone really almost getting the Bloodwell out of Xaxus.
Yeah, just melting through his hit points. The burnout, plus that Twin Fang bite is just destroying Xaxus' HP. Now, KottenX was given away by the double golems, or we'll talk about that in a second.
He's dead as well. Not going to be able to get away from this one, and we see it again. We've seen it already once before. Overpow actually going to try and push things back with his teleport, but completely whiffing the binding.
Yeah, that was way wide. And that was a base near tower dive onto ROCCAT. If VandeR and Overpow are not around, Celaver will die. It's that simple. There's so much mobility on Millenium's team that the moment Celaver doesn't have support, he can just get instantly pounced on. And what was great about that move is, I think Kerp had sort of read the situation. He may be alone, he might be in lane, and the rest of the team just engaged very quickly. In terms of that little golem, there's a nice little tidbit. If you hit one of the jungle camps, you can use them to scout for you even if you don't have vision. They will run to the nearest champion. So if you have vision and you auto attack them or use a ranged ability, you'll notice it run towards a champion it's close to them, which is what gave KottenX's position in the bush away.
Scumbag golems. Right now, though, it's all about Dragon here. ROCCAT have already got position on it. Last two went to Millenium after that first one was nicely stolen by KottenX. Cost him his life at the same time, but all in worth on that one either way. ROCCAT here, you see jostling for position. They're the ones in front of that Dragon pit, but they know they need to be careful, and Millenium might say, let them have Dragon, let's have middle turret.
So ROCCAT are hoping that Millenium jumps onto ROCCAT, but Overpow's not there. Overpow's Soul Shackles is very important to protect Celaver. Solar Flare will be up in a moment or two. ROCCAT actually grabbed that one. That was a little risky. If Millenium had Solar Flare available and Destiny, they could have engaged behind the Glacial Fissure. You know, throw Solar Flare down, wait for VandeR to respond, and then allow Kerp to jump on the back line. Overpow needs to be with his team to support this sort of protect Cogmore composition if they want to withstand the all-in power that Millenium has.
Now let's have a look at the gold then, because we're approaching 20 minutes now. 2-1 in towers for Millenium. 2,000 gold to lead and just that single kill up. However, 4 out of 5 kills are with that man on your screen. Creaton, 4-0-0. Got a pickaxe now added in to his Trinity Force as well. And we can see 7,000 to the 5.6 of Celaver over on the other side. Doing well so far is Creaton.
Very important for him to stay safe, but I almost feel like as long as he doesn't eat a Dark Binding, there's not a massive amount of pressure from ROCCAT that should be jumping onto him. yes, there is the potential for Overpow to flash in with the Soul Shackles, but the Valkyrie is going to allow Creaton to reposition and not really be a threat to being caught out. So Dark Binding is the only real fear, maybe a Cocoon as well. But I do still feel the ROCCAT will be at their strengths when they are sticking together in somewhat of a reactive defensive play style. They are a tower down, they're 2 dragons down, one thanks to a great steal. But they are now making movements around the map. We've seen Jankos being a lot more, I think, involved in this laning phase now in this last five or so minutes to try set up plays. Kevin is just having a field day. CS advantage and still red buff.
Freebie red buff. Kevin actually, as you mentioned, doing so well again this game. Saw him forcing Xaxus out of lane earlier on and has a CS lead thanks to his efforts in there. Both of them do have that blade of the Ruin King actually finished. See that as soon as Xaxus spots Kevin, he's like, do I really want to stick around here? He can challenge me. Kerp gets himself a blue buff as well, not even needing any help on that one from KottenX at this point. Got a Lich Bane now added in on top of that Morella Nomicon from earlier. Other side, Rod of Ages was the start for Overpow to get it charging. He's now added the Zhonyas as well.
Yeah, nothing really surprising in that regard. Xaxus and Kevin still going to work their way up towards tanky items. They've both got their Blade of the Ruin King, so they've both got fair amounts of damage, but Xaxus is having the tougher time in that top lane. He's really bullied quite heavily. But I think Millenium are quite comfortable where they are. They've been pushing the map. They've been using the Dragon Timer to their advantage, I think, for the most part. And now that we've hit this inner line of turrets in the top and the bottom lane, I also think Millenium can split push effectively. They've got, Shyvana that can do very well in that lane. We've got Kerp that can push lanes out. And this is something that I personally have been waiting and wanting from Millenium, is a growth in their playstyle and not only relying on all-in engages from champions like Jree or on Leona.
We heard from Jankos before the game. He was wondering which Millenium were going to turn up today, and I think 21.5 minutes in, he's probably thinking, oh, it's that Millenium. Not the Millenium that he wanted to see, I think. We have a 3,000 gold lead over ROCCAT. ROCCAT playing it pretty passively. They're farming it up as much as they possibly can. Doing a fairly decent job in some areas. However, you look at the AD carries, there's about a 10 difference there. Top lane, there's a much more significant 40 CS lead over for Kevin. And now the pressure from Millenium looks like it could be built up on towards this middle turret. The final outer turret that's actually left up in the game.
Yeah, we'll see how committed they are to actually pushing this wave. Twisted Fate will probably be even more effective at the tower pushing because he's got that damage bonus from the Lich Bane. Corki being a very short-range champion, it's quite risky to get in range of the tower to get those auto attacks down. So you notice Millenium sort of push the wave up, it gets cleared by ROCCAT, and they instantly back away. But the one thing we did notice just before that little engage is just how quickly Overpow's Black Shield got popped. One single gold card plus that Lich Bane melted the Black Shield, and it's on a fairly high cooldown. It's around 18 seconds. So the shield is currently only 400 points, 400 hit points effectively worth of a shield. So Overpow's going to need more ability power before he can survive a gold card and potentially something else.
It's also sat back here as well up top, and as I said before, his CS leaders dwindled away slowly but surely. Kevin must have, yeah, he's sat on almost 1,800 gold. I was going to say he's had that Blade of the Ruin King for a long time now and not really added too much on top of it. There was a Negatron cloak picked up on his opposite number. Xaxus, meanwhile, Creaton continues to farm up. He's just surpassed that 200 CS point as well.
Yeah, he's doing very well. Millenium as a team are farming very well. They're only marginally behind in the mid lane, but every other lane is performing well. Jankos, on the other hand, because he hasn't been so prevalent in ganking, he's built himself up a 40 CS farming lead. He spent a lot of time clearing camps down. That's also because KottenX's playstyle has been a bit more campy. He camped the top lane to kill Xaxus, or be involved in the kill against Xaxus. He camped the bottom lane to be involved in the kill against VandeR. And while they did resulting kills, it does mean he has a large portion of CS behind. So he's not quite as tanky as his opposite number is at this exact point in the game.
Yeah, Giant's belt for Kevin added in there on his last trip home. Mentioned that he was sat on about 1,800 gold, but it's all about Dragon now. That Dragon just spawning in. Millenium already there, but ROCCAT have 4 main coming down. TP is available for both top laners as well.
Yeah, ROCCAT might be a little too late to this party. Glacial Fish is available, and Jankos, he's trying to get it closer.
Yeah, KottenX actually just used the kick there to kick him back out of the pit. Swiss of Fate going to come in from around the side, but not sure that they can actually get in range of this one. There is a cocoon coming down, and that will stop Millenium from chasing. So ROCCAT say no to the fight. They lose the Dragon as well.
Jankos is going to be a little more careful on that cocoon, because if he had thrown it and Kerp had followed through with the Destiny, there would have been one less of those very hard CCs to lock him down. But nevertheless, ROCCAT get away cleanly. They were just too late to respond. And the decisiveness from Millenium gives them that Dragon uncontested. They had to burn a few summoners and ultimates. Well, one Ghost, one Destiny. But it was just all too easy for them. And again, confident play. Millenium are definitely once again dictating the tempo of the match against ROCCAT.
How ROCCAT can stay in this game, how they can hold on to it. One thing's for sure, giving these Dragons slowly but surely more and more over to Millenium is not something that's going to help them in the grand scheme of things. Only, as I mentioned before, got 1 turret from the middle lane, whereas Millenium sat with 2 and only have the mid lane turret to actually take down to complete that outer ring. And then they can start to push a little bit more pressure onto ROCCAT, get the vision down in the jungle. And we see that Kevin forcing Xaxus out of lane completely.
Yeah, Kevin, if he wanted to, he could have even dove forward with that Dragon's Descent. I think for ROCCAT, it's actually a scary position to be in, because they don't necessarily have the strongest way of engaging team fights, because if VandeR and Overpow go all the way forward, Millenium will just simply jump over them, use the Dragon's Descent to get to that back line. So for ROCCAT, they want to be looking to force fights around objectives and use the power of their ultimates together. It's also interesting, if you look at the head-to-head for this game, ROCCAT's 2-1 up on the split against Millenium. And if Millenium wins this game, they will be tied in the head-to-head. So as we get to playoffs, Europe ties, I mean, it's kind of a thing. Whereas if ROCCAT were to pick this one up, they guarantee that head-to-head lead, meaning they could have preferential positioning in terms of getting a higher seed. Overpow, that goes.
Yeah, going for it on this one. There is the solar flare coming down, and VandeR going low from that one. Is he going to go down? It was a wild card from Kerp that got it in the end. Can they follow through for any more? KottenX is right on top of them. He gets bounded up as well, and now Overpow going to be separated on one side. There's 2 of them on the top, and it's Creaton that's hammering away and picks up the kill. He's unstoppable at 5-0-1. Blue Wolf's going to go to Millenium as well. They're surely going to go mid here and get rid of that tower finally.
Creaton absolutely obliterated the health bars of ROCCAT. He just sat on the side and punched them down. Jree, with his face of the mountain as well as that Eclipse, just gets so much bonus armor, and the shield from Face of the Mountain is made all that much more effective by the bonus armor and MR that Jree was able to secure. If you don't have Celaver there to burn through those resistances, Overpow simply doesn't have the damage right now. He doesn't have a huge amount of ability power, and he hasn't even finished his Void Staff yet either. So poor engage from ROCCAT, maybe feeling the pressure of being under Millenium's finger this entire game. Squashing them like a bug.
I was trying to work my head around that. I got you. I know what you meant. A little bit, maybe not.
I kind of had to. Let's just move on, shall we?
Let's move on from that one.
That was a dumb line.
We're approaching 30 minutes. Self-realization is a first step in curing yourself, by the way.
You've got to admit you have a problem.
Indeed.
You know? Right.
Right, half an hour, almost, on the clock. Couple of new items coming in here as well. Mostly for Millenium. Zhonya's Hourglass for Twisted Fate. There's a Banshees now on Lee Sin. Also saw Blade of the Ruin King now completed for Cogmore, and Locket of the Iron Solari for release. Meanwhile, Kevin literally just now finishing off. The Celaver here up on that bottom side is actually going to get away from it finally, but had to use the Summoner Heal to actually give him that boost.
Insta-heal to get away, and Millenium looking once again to try and punish Celaver. Without support, it's very easy to jump on him. Millenium have got the numbers advantage in that bottom lane. The minions are being dealt with relatively quickly by Celaver, so they haven't got presence on the tower. Kevin has not left that top lane. He's teleported a few times for fights, but he's just been bullying Xaxus and continually pushing Xaxus to his inner tower. The rest of Millenium have done a very good job of dealing pressure in middle and bottom. So again, it's just all Millenium dictating the tempo of the game And you have to feel, the moment they catch someone, Celaver's dead.
Celaver is dead, and Kerp actually going to take one too many turret hits. Zhonya's away from Kog'Maw, and that will leave them free and open to have a good go, if not even take down, finish off that inner turret. There it is, finished by Kerp in the end. There's too many mid trying to deal with Creaton. They might be forced to actually leave him alone. Actually, they decide to go aggressive on him to force him off. Valkyrie used by Creaton. Got a minute here until that dragon comes up, but slowly but surely, Millenium here strangling ROCCAT out of the map.
Yeah, denying every resource they can. Millenium have just got exquisite vision control in ROCCAT's jungle. A plethora of wards, both top and bottom of the map. And Millenium have just been much more proactive in this game. You know, ROCCAT, we talked about how they win and lose games in streaks. If they lose this game again, that's the second match, you know, this week, 0-2, after winning 5 in a row. And they just don't seem to be able to make positive plays. Their composition is a reactive one, yes, but they simply haven't made real pushes outside of trying dragons, and even those were questionable at best.
Therefore, lying quite the chunk of gold behind here. As Dragon is coming up, ROCCAT have actually sent a full party on down there. Creaton's not going to be around, and 5-0 180 carry needs to be part of the team if you're going to fight it. There's Jree stepping forward. Watch out for that solar flare coming in. KottenX waiting off to the side. Are they going to actually push through here? Dragon goes low. Safeguard comes in. They do manage to get it here, though. Smite was a little misjudged by KottenX. Are they going to try and go through? Jree not got the range on the Zenith Blade. Good, solid Dragon pickup there for ROCCAT. They needed that.
Yes, I completely agree. It's going to help close that gold gap. And very importantly, because Creaton was not there, they punished his positional call. It wasn't a mistake. He backed to spend some money. So ROCCAT with a very quick, decisive play, but it's not enough. They need more of those, and ideally, they need to get some kills, because look at Millenium. They're just going to default back to this split push style. They've still got Kevin in the top lane. They've still got Kerp pushing out that bottom wave. And they are doing this very, very effectively. Every time there's an objective available, they go for it. And every time Celaver is just farming, Millenium have gone aggressive on him, under the tower and in that lane.
Nice little line in there actually coming onto Creaton, but he actually uses Quicksilver Sash, which he picked up a little earlier on, to get away from that one. So just showing that Creaton going a little bit defensive here, knowing that he's going to be a target when he's 5-0-1. Look at this Millenium say, you know what, they're defending their base. Let's go Baron.
Vision control, map awareness, damage, they've got it all. ROCCAT will be arriving probably too late here. Smite is up for KottenX. Too little, too late. They've decided to half heal. No, they're back in. Now here comes Jankos.
Oh, there is the Baron, though, going down. Overpow gets in the middle of them. His ulti only going to hit Kevin, though, and that's not what they want. Brilliant. Solar Flare gets 3. This could be a whitewash for Millenium. Xaxus going to get his blood well popped here any second. They've killed off Overpow. Celaver is going to go down. He's right in the middle. And Kerp now going to step forward. Has he got the pace to get in? There's the gold card. And that is going to be 4 men down for ROCCAT. And a triple kill for Creaton. 8-0-2 now.
Creaton still chasing, gets caught out, manages to get the quadra at the end of the fight. And an aggressive initiation from Overpow does not manage to lock anyone down. You've seen how quickly Millenium were able to dash away from the Soul Shackles. Baron was secured, the massive team fight victory, and this is going to be an inhibitor as well.
Inhibitor's going to be going down. Jree going to stick his shield on, tank up the first couple of hits. Turret will fall here quickly. There's 3 seconds for Jankos, the rest of them a significant amount of time behind that, and the inhibitor is going to go down with the Baron, with the ace. Millenium have got gold
coming out of their ears.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 3.5k for Kerp. The others are sat 3,000 on the 80 carries, 1,600, 1,700 here and there.
I think Overpow just panicked. I think that was a brash initiation, and because ROCCAT was so split up, look, there's no one keeping Celaver alive. Everybody from ROCCAT joined the fight in drips and drabs very, very late. KottenX manages to flash away from the Acathian surprise. I mean, if you contrast team fights for Millenium today in comparison to yesterday, Millenium's focus and targeting is on a completely different level. They are making the right calls, they are focusing the right targets. And against SK, they were not doing that. Now that is also fair because SK's comp was very mobile, it was a lot more difficult to do. But nevertheless, this has just all been about Millenium for the last 10 minutes, and they are playing very, very well.
Millenium could end up with a solid 2-0 week against Two teams that honestly are probably going to be around their area in terms of their finishing positions in the table come the end of this split. So two very, very vital wins. Possibly, of course, they've not finished this game yet. So you never quite know how well ROCCAT are going to be able to hold on to it. But you have to feel that Millenium, the ones with a big control on this game. Over 10,000 gold already. 34 minutes in, only 2 turrets down for ROC at the top and middle outer turrets, whereas Millenium already got 6, and that inhibitor already down in middle means the super minions have to be dealt with.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We've seen earlier today in OG, and comebacks are very real, and they happen. Banshee's Bell needs to be popped by KottenX before he can be initiated upon, but look at Kerp, chilling on the sidelines. I think Millenium are aware that something is up. ROCCAT are not in position to defend this tower, and it's going to get taken down. They don't even really want to team fight at this point in time. And Millenium, this is a very important win for Millenium because of the fact that they want the tiebreaker against ROCCAT. And KottenX, not even going to walk away.
Oh, Kevin's going deep here. Actually, they've gone on to Celaver, who has to flash away. Jankos being focused now as well, and Millenium really going heavy for this one. Kerp's in the middle of the base, at the backside of them. Overpow gonna fall low here and probably get finished up as well. It will, in fact, be Corky who gets another one here to double kill again for Creaton. Kerp, in the meantime, destinied in to the back line, trying to get in onto Jankos. There's the gold card actually coming down. Repel was the saving grace for a while, but Kerp gets the kill, goes unstoppable, and this is going to be the game for Millenium. They've already taken down the Nexus turret. They'll finish off the win 35 minutes in. Vital victory for Millenium.
2-0 for the week. They tie up the head-to-head 2-2 with ROCCAT. And the theory behind the Morgana mid and Braum protect Cogmore was not enough. Millenium danced around it and got onto Celaver so many times. Found the right time to port in. And Kerp again showing just how strong of a mid laner he is in Europe.
And while I totally agree with you there, we're also seeing that Creaton as well, the comfortable Creaton who's enjoying playing the game. 11-0-2 he actually ended in this one. 315 CS to his name. He's close to being a fully built Corky, and we saw that fight around Baron where he got the quadra, got a double there at the end of this one as well. Really great performance overall by Millenium. Again, gonna go back to our old broken record story and wonder if they can do the same next week though.
Yes, I completely agree. I must admit, this game though, for me, was the first time all split that Millenium have demonstrated an ability to play the map as effectively as they play team fights. If you go look at that mid-game phase, Millenium were not over-aggressive. They made relatively few mistakes. They didn't really get punished by ROCCAT at all, and they were pushing top lane. Kevin, he didn't leave top lane. I mean, he saw 20% of the map that whole game. The few times he got involved were great, yes, but he just completely controlled Xaxus, kept Xaxus dealing with him the whole time. So I think that's a very good thing for Millenium to take away, because it's definitely a point that I've been harping on about all split long, and they did very well at controlling it.
Feel a little bit for ROCCAT as well, because they were the ones that, you know, because of the lane swap, initiated that first Dragon attempt. It got stolen away from them, which can put a team down, you know, can really throw you on tilt. And you have to say, from that point on, ROCCAT didn't do too much though. I think there was one Dragon where I'd say they wisely and capitalized on the fact that they'd seen Creaton already leave, so they knew it was going to be a 5v4 either way. Good moves, but Millenium the better team.
So it's one of those situations where you look at the team comp, and in theory on paper, with the Morgana, with the Braum, you put the ultimates together, you have Aatrox running amok in the team, Elise trying to land cocoons. In theory, it could have worked. The only problem that ROCCAT had is they needed to be completely together at multiple times. And they also needed Millenium to come at them at a fairly linear fashion. Yeah. But because of the way Kerp was sort of teleporting in from the sidelines, and Overpow was often not with his team. A couple of Dragon fights, he was late to the party. Baron fight, he initiated Baron. So Soul Shackles was down, Dark Binding was used, and Millenium just went, oh, well, thank you very much. Now we'll start the fight because the big threats are no longer there. So I do like the theory. I do think execution was a big problem here for ROCCAT in terms of their positioning, in terms of how they handled their team composition against Millenium's.
Yeah, a bit of work to do as well over the next week for ROCCAT. I mean, we said it at the start of the game, 5-game winning streak coming into this week, won 9 out of their last 12 games, and then they end up losing 2 games to I'm not going to say like Alliance and Fnatic, who are a little bit further out there at the top, but they've lost to the Super Hot Crew and they've lost to Millenium, two teams who are right in there in the middle of the table.
Fighting them for seeding, which is very, very important. And third place sixth, fourth place fifth. So you want to ideally work closer to third to get the weaker of that middle of the table teams.
Well, we'll see if ROCCAT can bring it back next week. But now we're going to flash over to Shox and Officio, who are standing by with Millenium's Creaton.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, Creaton, who just got off a great game on Corki, a great performance. Talk me through picks and bans, and you guys not banning out Kassadin for a change, and then a little bit of a mind game coming out of ROCCAT. So how did you guys perceive that?
So actually, we were kind of surprised that they ban Kassadin, and I'm not sure if he would actually play him if he was open, because we just don't play him. And the mind game, I was kind of surprised because I'm playing Morgana a lot. Like, I'm not look like a Morgana player or something, but I do. And I know that she really lacks damage late game if you don't go like full glass cannon build. And if you go, you're just getting destroyed and you have to go kind of melee range. So I was kind of surprised that they're going for Morgana, and I don't think it was like a really good pick for them.
So what was actually the game plan for you guys? I mean, we often see these pick comps again. Was it just say, okay, they have Morgana, don't really care about her late game, just get Celaver every single team fight, or what was the game plan?
We wanted to swap and just play our game because we're kind of strong when we lane swap. Somehow we're going ahead. I don't know, even if we're behind, we're winning team fights and stuff. We got kind of lucky early game. Kotten stole the Drake, and it released the pressure because afterwards I could push top turret and they couldn't. So we already had a lot of global gold, and yeah, we just kind of snowballed the game from this point.
Yeah, as you said, you were building up a good lead. Let's actually take a look at a team fight where you got a very good result, and where we also see how the Morgana wasn't that useful in a team fight.
Right, so obviously you guys are already ahead here, starting Baron and everything. And let's just be honest, the real reason we showed this one is to show you a quarter kill, but you can talk over it anyway, so let's just roll the clip.
So we got the Baron here, and I'm just Valkyrie out of the Morgana, and I'm so fat at this point, so their front line is just being melted by me and the rest of the team, and Kog'Maw is getting kicked in the behind by Kotten, he's just dying. Yeah, like I was just so fat at this point. So
and it was really the weird thing for me with the ROCCAT comp, because if Overpow ever wanted to play aggressive and run forward towards you guys to actually kill you, for instance, he wouldn't be able to protect Celaver and then open up for Kerp and KottenX or Kerp to just jump and kill him.
I guess they just wanted to counter TF somehow with the Black Shield and TPs, but we got too many objectives early game, I think. Maybe if she was ahead like a little bit more, then maybe she could pull out something, but their front line was just dying so fast.
Well, we saw you on Corki here, fantastic game. Last week on Ezreal, fantastic game. It seems that you are trying to mix it up a little bit and bring those old picks back for you. Is that because you think the role is changing, or you feel like you need to put more pressure down?
I don't know. I don't like Lucian anymore that much. I'm just losing the games with Lucian. I don't know. On solo queue, I feel like the king, and here, I don't know. I don't know, but the new Lucian is going to be cooler, though.
It's actually a good question, though. Now, you mix up the AD carries, but the rest of the team seem to play the same picks and the same style. Like, we always want to go for some pick comps here. You always want Jree to be able to engage. Are you afraid you guys are going to be too predictable going into playoffs, or do you have something else prepared?
We play the same. Like, we played the same since 2 splits. Last split, we played the same. Now we're playing the same, and we still managed to win somehow. So I'm not worried at all.
All right, because of course we know that you've had splits, also an alternate, where you guys started off so strong and you could never keep it going. Tell me what is different for you in this split that hasn't been there before.
I don't know what's different. I guess the people really wanted to go to World Finals and just practicing harder, I guess, taking game more serious, and yeah.
Pretty good idea.
That is very important. That is very important, actually. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we need to take a quick break, but we'll be right back as the Super Hot Crew gear up to take on Alliance in our next match. Don't go anywhere.
Finish him off. He actually will jump towards Kevin. Here comes Overpow with the TP as well. Xaxus is going to go down, but it's going to take a while. Where's he going to go? Auto attack from Kerp, finishing off. Only going to hit Kevin now, and that's not what they want. Brilliant. So the FLICKR gets 3. This could be a whiteboard for Millenium. Xaxus going to get his blood well pumped here any second. They've killed off Overpow. Celaver is going to go down. He's right in the middle. Jankos being focused now as well, and Millenium really going heavy for this one. Kerp's in the middle of the base. At the backside of them, Overpow going to fall low here and probably get finished up as well. It will in fact be Corky who gets another one here to double kill again.